This is the What I Need podcast, a shared journey exploring topics of society, spirituality, and even ways of being. Here, we speak freely and fully, from the heart and the conscious mind, in hopes to find what we need. Thank you, for your time is valuable and you could have been anywhere else in the universe. All of you are welcomed and appreciated here.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the What I Need podcast. This is your host, King Karlton, and we have a very special episode this Sunday. This is about walking through the fire. Um, we are constantly going through life as we are living. In many different ways, we're living. We're living physically, as we could pinch ourselves. We'd all take a moment to do so. Okay? Yeah, I feel it. And we can all understand that we are living spiritually. In fact, through ways of our faith, ways of our spiritual practice, prayer, meditation, prayer petitioning, affirmations, uh, being in contact with nature and being a steward of the earth, constantly repaying Gaia for her giving and giving and giving and infinite giving. She constantly makes sure that we have rain when we need it. Uh, the soil, agrees to take her blessing of rain and turn it into nutrients for plants growing. The plants accept that nutrients and they take their responsibility to grow so that we may continue to have providence for our physical body. These goings on um, are inherently spiritual and have been created eons ago, before science and before man could even take pen to papyrus, or whatever they did. And it's great some of the things that man has done, but certainly none comes before the glory of God, which is why it says that, for you to know that. And you would think people would know by now. You would think people would know by now, but it doesn't appear always every place that we go that is known. Other things are somehow taking priority over that. It's another lesson to learn, and each person comes to learn it in their own beautiful, unique way. Of sometimes things that don't look like beauty, things that don't look like the most wholesome situation. It's neither here nor there, because when we're spending the time on judging other people's lives and what their lessons are, what their path of growth individually and also for the collective is here to show, all of these things have to be somehow experienced. This is why we're here, to have these unique experiences. My experience is not going to be like my neighbor's experience. Does that mean I don't love my neighbor? Well, that's up to you. That would be activating and going back to your faith. So if you know you're supposed to love thy neighbor as yourself, but you don't, you are not being faithful. You're not being faithful. But you may feel that you have some other. The world kind of confuses us in that way. The illusion of the world, anyway, tries to confuse us in that way. So we think we can put down the principles that we know should be there to guide us uh, infinitely through each and every problem. Now, when we put down those principles that we know have been going on for 2 and 3,000 years in order to latch on to a perspective that just feels, okay, well, I'll just go with this. What are you anchoring yourself into? What are you giving up? You're giving up your power. It's not even your power. You're giving up the power of God because you were told this by scriptures. You were told this by master teachers. You were told this by all the places that created this world and its functions. Yet the belief becomes so entrenched in something else, the system and how that works and how it manages everything accordingly, right? The management system of the system itself is nothing in comparison to the management system that the universe, God's universe, if you will, has already created long before again man has been able to write it down and say that he so deeply understands it. No, you don't. Well, some of you, sometimes me, but that was before. I've had to lean into walking through the fire and believing and knowing I'm not going to be touched or be burned because their fire is not hot enough. They don't even know how that fire got created. You have fire. Oh, no, you don't. So the fire itself was an illusion. There's no fire. There's a bunch of ideas that human beings got comfortable with that come from something else, I guess. And they are thinking that they are being, I guess, no, 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 I don't know. They're thinking that they're being entrapped by that. Well, they are being entrapped by that because you, at this point, you have lent yourself to the illusion so firmly that that is kind of where your faith emerges. So you are subject to that. When you have exempted yourself by faith and walked by it, then you are up underneath that power. So notice how I say underneath, not above it, not equal to. We don't have to be equal to. Oh, I don't know. Somebody can do the math on that. We need to be up under the power, as in it's like it's covering us. We're covered in the power of God. We're covered in the power of God's universe and how it truly functions. We're covered in those processes that go on all around us. Again, the rain comes down because it have been again instructed to by a source beyond us because we cannot every time focus on, okay, this area we need to have rain. Okay, let me do some. What are you going to do about it? Okay, the rain comes down and it hits the ground and the soil so that that plant can grow. What did you do about that? You can't do nothing about that. That's a mysterious power going on, a spiritual power going on because those plants and even the animals, they know how to move. They know how to be so that they can add structure, not even add structure, but be the structure of the um, infinite that we all need as human beings. Again, who had you pinch yourself in the beginning so you can know that you are a part of this. You're not separate from it, um, nor would you want to be. And that is a good thing because you are up under a order that has been again long before you, long before every person, and that was what instituted and is always resolute and is always functioning so properly that we can have anything at all that makes sense, that makes us able to survive day to day, and et cetera, and all that. Okay, we're only at 9 minutes. Um, it's so our experience that we have is to go through and be able to experience the effects of all that's going on, holding into faith, holding into principles that, okay, oh, here's a situation that's come up. people are saying this or that, and then I have to make a choice. What choice do I make? What is it based on? Is it based on what people will think, or is it based on what I know God has made as instructions for me to not be ugh, just vulnerable and beat up and picked on or bullied and without? So, knowing those things, when you choose principle and you have faith in the proper principles, and they're there, they're all over the world. Um, and they're all over the world, as in, well, there's Bibles all over the world. There's great authors all over the world, and there are similar faiths that hold into similar uh, properties that access to a one source that is giving all to everything. I don't know and follow all of them all at once, but there is a source that gave everything to us. And it's constantly, you look outside, you have an outside to look at. So it's there. What more proof did you need? You're here. What more proof did you need? The days go on. What more proof did you need? The sun rose every day and fell as it rests. But it didn't. The sun never fell. Talking about the earth spins. The sun is always in the same position that it's been in. So that's the part right there. When you had stayed in position, regardless of what was seeming to be a sunrise and sunset, that was a man made idea or finding out that the earth is revolving, and then we had a sunrise and sunset, but the sun had actually been in its same position. So when you realize that, okay, that same position type thing is kind of how you should be, as things happen and there's concepts around you that yes, they are helpful to know concepts and knowledge and stuff like that, but to be conscious of your position and know that that is how you move somehow on every choice. We're not always going to get them right, absolutely right. Sometimes we have got them right, and systems have had the audacity to get them wrong and make that right. That really makes things get a little hectic at some point. It will continue to if we allow it, and I think that's what drives everything into a. See, we make those fires real. We make that walking through the valley of the shadow of death real. When we kind of lose our faith, when we lose our constant position. Faith is a constant position, like the sun, a constant position. What it had provided, life itself. You know, I'm just off the top right now because several things had happened in my life that the details and going back and forth with all that would make anybody sound like they're kind of out of their mind. So I say it like this to just make it simplify it. You know, um, we all have time, some time here where we get to walk around, be around, go through situations and test it out and see what works. I keep seeing it working in the most profound ways. That's why I speak like this. That's why I make a podcast to just share it, so that way people that are also going through these tumultuous situations, very hard situations, can see you're provided for. You're provided for even when others think you shouldn't be. but they don't know your whole story or your details. So what are they judging and assuming? And but when they were supposed to be doing what they was doing, now they done got all off track trying to see and how they can deconstruct you and dematerialize you and turn you into, oh, but they're doing too much work. You didn't even live your, they're not even living their life. You have to anyway, though. You do. So I'm going to keep this one short. I just wanted to get something out on this Sunday. I know it's Valentine's Day. So, love, not as a Hallmark holiday, but as an ultimate power, um, unconditionally making sure your ass is still in one piece on a fractal level. Thank God. God, you know, the all in all, you know, the Alpha and Omega, that God. Well, the God. Okay? The source. We want to be respectful and detailed about this, but the details, it's not really so many details. It's just one detail. And it's not confusing because you don't have to confuse it. See, people get confused about conversations about God because they want to argue. There is no argument. When you have to argue about it, that just means you don't understand. How are you alive? How are you doing anything at all? What do you think you're doing? How do you think? Where do your thoughts come from? Is that really your thoughts? Or conditioning from television and what other people think and what you think is cool? There may be some things to ponder. I'm not trying to mess your head up. I'm trying to get you to have a conscious mind that is just easily striding through all of the conversation, all of the social media, all of the politics, all of the hatred and envy and jealousy and those minor things that go on. Well, there's a major thing that's always going on too. It hadn't changed its position since forever. And that's why we still are. That's why we still are. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful Sunday with your loved one or loved ones, and that you're giving, you know, love to them in the best way possible. And it's just important to remember you are provided for. You may not always feel like you're in the best of situations. However, you've been sent here to experience those situations and it not be the best so that you can be like, how should I choose to maneuver this? And then you find that answer that was ultimate and it just provides for you ultimately. Thank you for listening to the What I Need podcast. This has been your host, King Carlton. Have a beautiful day.
And appreciate it here.